Hello and welcome to the Buildup. This is the podcast for marketing in the construction industry. I'm Dan, the creative director at Dissident. We've been working with construction brands for a number of years. It's an exciting and rapidly evolving industry, and that's why we created a podcast dedicated to the weird and wonderful world of construction marketing. I'll be speaking to leading brands, other agencies, creatives, influencers and startups. This is the resource I wish we had when we first started out in the industry. Thank you for being here and welcome to the Buildup. Welcome to the Buildup. I am Dan, I'm the creative director at Dissident. I'm joined today by the Duke of Copper, Mr. Robert Lawton. Thank you so much for coming.
No worries.
We've had a good chat ahead of schedule. Hopefully we've got most of our conversations out of the way so we can focus on some topics, but I'm intrigued, and we'll go into kind of how we met and how I came about yourself and Lawton Tubes a bit later on. But if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and a little bit about Lawton.
How far do you want to go back?
Not too far. I want to go back to anywhere that's pivotal would be nice.
Okay, so I've been at Lawton Tubes 21 years.
Okay.
Which is a long time.
So you started when you were 10?
If only. Yeah, I just need to sort my hair out. And I started in a salesman's role, really, working in a family business. So for those that don't know Lawton Tubes, where have you been? We've been around since 1918.
1918.
So it's a really old company. I'm fourth generation and the fifth generation's joined the business. And it's me, my cousin, and my brother. So the three of us are on the board. We've also got other directors as well to have a happy mix. Started in sales, and then where I am at the moment is marketing, but also still in charge of international sales. I think last count's 42 countries that I sell into.
That's good go.
So, yeah, but I wasn't an out-and-out salesperson. Mm-hmm. I started off in logistics.
Okay.
I always wanted to do marketing, but absolutely flunked my A-levels. And it was great. It was about getting the right product, right place, right time. Not overly complicated. But within that degree, it was all about strategic selling and strategies. Mm-hmm. So I think that sort of started me off down the road of where I wanted to be at. I spent a year in the middle of my university degree, literally just living out of a suitcase, going around the country in hired cars, thrown in the deep end, and I had to take data from a lot of companies and analyse that data. Anyway, so cut long story short, I got to learn how to talk to people at any level, from a cleaner all the way up to board level. Mm-hmm. I wasn't necessarily born into construction industry, but being in the company 21 years, you learn what's good about your product. You learn, maybe some people do, maybe some people don't, but I learn at all the different levels.
Yeah.
So from an end user, which would be an installer, all the way to business to business. Now our business is business to business. We sell to distribution, who then sell on to the end user. And where we got to today in terms of marketing is we quickly realised that we weren't filling that gap, if you like.
Yes.
We were meeting installers, but we were doing it on a golf course where you're only 3-4 people in a team, and that was our window of opportunity to meet people.
Yes.
So we were spending money with our customers because that's the thing to do.
Yes.
And you spend your time, and you still got to do a lot of that, right? You've got to tell them about the product. You've got to get the price right. You've got to do everything they need to do and more. But what maybe some brands don't do is interact because they don't see the direct benefit.
Yes.
But that's what I've been doing the last 3 years. So I've only actually been marketing director at the company for 3 years, believe it or not. And our social media has only been going 3 years.
Yes. And since and so am I getting this right, that there's been a big emphasis so far on recently on speaking to the end user, being really engaged with those guys as opposed to just your direct customers. So we were probably size 8, something like that in the industry for our products 15 years ago. Okay. We've had massive growth. And now we're joint first. To some point, we're actually leaders in some of the industries we do. So not saying that we're pulling back on looking after our customers and doing the marketing with them, but we quickly realised that, do you know what? We're not doing stuff for the end user. Yeah.
So the focus did move on for 3 years. I didn't have Instagram.
No.
3 years ago. We didn't have any ambassadors or influencers, whatever we want to call them. I never thought I would be doing that.
No.
And I think a lot of companies don't do that or shy away from it. And it's actually been great working with Pete.
Yeah.
It's been a really good thing for us.
PB Plumber.
Yeah, PB Plumber. And it's not just what you get from using an ambassador like Pete, but it's the way that it opens doors.
Yes.
I'm a massive advocate of networking and chatting to people, because you never know what comes out of a conversation. So that was all new to us 3 years ago. But now I think we're doing all right on social media.
I would agree.
So I'm not going to switch that off, but I think I need to now focus. You've got to keep all the balls juggling up in the air, haven't you? So we're doing a bit more of a campaign back on LinkedIn. So
Okay.
Part of the marketing strategy was to realise what social channel should be for what audience.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people don't get that.
No.
They just repost on the same
it's
post they
easier.
do everywhere.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I don't do that.
Well,
Or trying to do that.
when you're in a B2B situation like you guys are, so you've got your end user, you're marketing to your end user, and you're marketing and having conversations with your actual customer, which is a distributor, a retailer. So you've got essentially these two different conversations that you're having. Sometimes they can be the same, but most of the time they're not. You know, you're speaking to the end user, which can be which can have a different feel. It can have a different look to it, and it can have a different approach. It can have a different even language. And then you've got the conversations they're having with your customers, so your retailers and distributors, and that might be a very different conversation. And so it's really nice to be able to, the fact that we've got these different platforms that you can kind of go, well, okay, it makes sense that LinkedIn is probably to your customer. And so, and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok are probably to your end user, but your actual customers, your distributors and stuff will be on there as well.
It's changing.
So you've got to be careful.
More installers are moving on to LinkedIn.
Yes, absolutely. I'm seeing that.
Because with the why do you go on social media is the question, isn't it? But when I started on it 3 years ago, it was more about social aspect. So a plumber helping a plumber, or an air conditioning installer helping another air conditioning installer.
Yes.
And suddenly you're not just in your local patch, which will be competition, I suppose.
Yes.
You can now engage with people all over the UK or even outside the UK. So you're fitting a boiler you've never fitted before. You jump on the socials, and do you know what? Very quickly someone will help you. And that's what I loved about Instagram in particular.
It's a community.
But they're moving on to LinkedIn. And I make my own decision on why they're doing that. And I think it's maybe to engage with the people that would possibly might recruit them to help them with their brands.
Yep.
So they might not be on Instagram, or they might be on a personal level, because Instagram might be run by a marketing company.
Absolutely. Like us.
Whereas LinkedIn, you can connect directly with people.
Absolutely.
There might be marketing companies sitting behind on some of the accounts, certainly on the company page. What people don't get and what some brands don't get, actually some installers love the product, and actually giving something back to them in either compliments or they've done a good install and stuff like that. They actually love that more than actually getting paid in some instances. So when I started dealing with PB Plumber 3 years ago, he loved to come around the factory. Now he just turned up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I wasn't there. And he got a tour. And then I was like, wow. We were all like, oh, we've had someone come around filming. I was like, oh, we never had that before.
Yes.
I quickly realised that's not a bad thing. So we had him back, and I did the tour with him, and we got introduced, and I said, well, marketing, da-da-da. And at some point in the conversation, he turned around, Rob, I've been using your product since I was 17.
Amazing.
And he said, I really want to work with you because, and I don't think a lot of brands maybe get that some people have been using your product forever and they love the product so much that the passion is there. I mean, I'm quite a passionate guy, and I think to be a marketer, you've got to have that passion as well as the creativity side. But I love the passion and energy he brings.
Yes.
And that's because it's genuine.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily because I'm, for whatever reason, doing other things with him. I think, and that's how we work really well together, because we're both very passionate about what we do. yes, it's a family business, and I get a vested interest in it, but I'm really passionate about everything I do.
Yes. I guess I imagine you're passionate about what's going on with the end user as well. It's like, this product is helping loads of different people do their job and do it really well and do it sustainably. And
it's just a great product.
Yeah, and being able to, I get really excited for our brands that we work with, when we see stuff on socials, people are reposting stuff and they're not being paid to do any of this stuff. They're just kind of excited about the fact that they've used a bloody wall plug or some bit in a toilet or whatever, and they're going, "This is great."
Yeah.
I'm like, that's amazing. I love the fact that you're so passionate about that bit in the toilet that you've put in and that you've posted a video about it. I think that's wicked.
Yeah,
no one's paid you to do it, and I get a buzz off that as well. I think it's really cool.
I think it's just a community, isn't it? So I think everybody benefits from it. And I think the more passion you exude, the person you're with will exude the same passion. If you're monotone, dull and boring, the meeting's going to be quick. And your presentation's not going to be great, and you're probably not going to do business with each other. But if you just don't ram it down the throat of somebody what you do and all the rest of it, but you just do a bit like what we're doing, just open chatting, you'll engage.
Yeah, you brought up an interesting point. I hadn't thought about this until just now. The fact that I'm starting to see people that we're engaging with on behalf of our brands on social media, so potential ambassadors, influencers, micro-influencers, whatever. I'm seeing more and more of those pop up on my LinkedIn as well. I spend most of my time on LinkedIn as opposed to Instagram, personally, from a personal brand perspective. And so it's quite an interesting kind of way to get in front of marketing managers, marketing directors, and agencies, because there's not many of them on LinkedIn. So they're cutting through, they're standing out quite a lot on my feed of like, oh, this is the kind of stuff that I'm seeing on Instagram, but now it's on LinkedIn. And I quite like that, because usually it's just like jargon and rubbish and stuff on LinkedIn.
Less adverts and all the rest of it. I think for an end user, most of them are self-employed.
Yeah.
How do they get in front of the right person?
Yes.
From a how do they get noticed by the right person? And it's very competitive on social media. I mean, I don't have massive followers, and I don't do it for massive followers. I just want to connect with the right people. But you don't see many people like me sitting on social media, on Instagram, day in, day out, watching what's going on, interacting, chatting. Maybe I need to do less of that.
I don't think so. And I think this is a point that I wanted to sort of get to. We have mentioned, Keelan, at some stage that Lawton Tubes makes copper. Have we even said the word copper yet?
I don't think so.
Okay. By the way, this is the first time Keelan's on the camera. We've got a Keelan cam going on there. So So and he's got his own mic.
We don't need to mention it's there.
Yeah,
I haven't really talked about the products.
We've talked about tubes, but and I'm not 100% sure if we even mentioned the fact that you guys only make copper. Is that right? Is that the only material that you guys use?
Up to very recently. So everyone says, "Oh, you do," but copper in itself as a tube can be used for so many different applications.
Yes.
So just quickly, we do plumbing and heating, air conditioning, refrigeration, medical gas, and then any other application you could possibly think of, which could go into a nuclear submarine, it could go into distilling whiskey. Yes. There's such a plethora, I love that word, of things that you can do, because copper's got, it's great conducting electricity, it's great conducting heat, it's antimicrobial. There's so many great things about the product that it can be used for pretty much anything.
Yes.
Now, literally just launched our latest product, which is that press fitting here.
Okay.
So that's a fitting that goes onto a tube. All right, you'd use a gun to fit it, but we've now launched that. See, this is the thing. 3 years ago, we weren't really doing much marketing, so we weren't shouting about it. We just got on with it, like family businesses do.
Yeah,
just get on with it.
You get on with it.
Graft, keep your head down. We were 8th in the industry. We're now equal first or first, depending on which market we're in. And we worked bloody hard to do it, but we didn't sort of shout it from the rooftops. But that's not what the marketing's for today. We're still not trying to shout from the rooftop. Look at us, aren't we amazing?
Yes.
We're just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly. And I try and keep it real and down to earth, because I like to think I am quite down to earth, and I think the family is.
Yes. What got my attention, what I thought would be really cool to get you guys on, because I saw from my own eyes, I saw a director of a massive, well, I would say massive company, because we're a team of 6, you're a team of 150, so I would say that's pretty big. A team of a massive, director of a massive company getting out on socials, being relatable, being fun, and also like really engaging with the end user and the network of personalities in the industry, plumbers and heating engineers and stuff like that. I just
love doing it.
Yeah, so
it's great fun.
If you go to the installer show, you go and I'm walking through with like brand ambassadors for the and just friends in the industry, other marketers, other tradespeople and stuff. I'm walking through, we're having a good time, we're looking at the different stands, and you can't walk past Lawton Tubes without one of the guys that I'm with coming up, shaking your hand, say, how's it going, and all that kind of thing. And you're busy speaking to about 6 other different people that I know that are names in the industry. And I'm like, but it's also banter, having a laugh, and there's instantly jokes flying around. And you just sort of think, there'll be other sales directors, marketing directors, MDs of the companies that are there that won't turn up to install a show. You know what I mean? Let alone be engaging with the end user. And I thought that was really interesting. And what grabbed my attention, if anyone's familiar with the marketing that you did ahead of Installer Show, was with the guys from the impersonators from the office and things like that. And I'm looking at that stuff. I'm thinking that's interesting. And there was some people that they're just getting on their phone, they're talking about the product, they're talking about the fact they're installing the show and stuff. And I wanted to sort of get you on because I wanted to sort of like peek inside the mind of the man that goes, should we get the impersonators from the office in?
Do you know a lot of that is with Pete? The two of us bounce ideas off.
Okay, that's interesting.
So, yes, I come up with some we talked about some earlier.
Yeah.
And actually my new thing is to do more collabs with other brands that are as equally as out there in terms of engagement and the marketing.
From a marketing point of view, not necessarily from a product point of view, but collaborating on marketing.
Originally, I wanted to do stuff with companies that were associated with the product.
Okay.
And then I've sort of broadened that, and I'm actually trying to engage a lot more with Installer Show themselves. Lyrical is the company behind it, which is owned by the 19 Group. I've even got up to the CEO of Installer Show, and actually I don't do that purposely in some respects. It's just me. Maybe it's my passion. Maybe I don't know.
Well, I imagine you're a bit
just
like me.
approachable.
You just start calling people, but hey, do you fancy doing this?
Well, I'll just walk around and be nosy.
Yeah.
If nothing else, you'll have to stop me if you don't want me to be nosy. But I just did it this morning with Shannon, bless her, in her house. So straight in there, wouldn't I?
What's this? What's that do?
Yeah, it was pretty much. I loved the sofa. I did love the purple sofa. Sorry, Shannon's our marketing manager.
And she's on the Keeling cam. Give us a wave.
Recently, how many weeks you done now?
Oh, I'm approaching 4 months.
But this is the thing. You just don't know out of a conversation you have what will come out of it. So what I'm trying to do, and there's some other brands out there that are just brilliant, and I love what they do as well. And I just thought, well, do you know what? We're not associated necessarily directly with each other.
No.
But we've both got the same concepts, ideas, and we want to make the show the best as it can, because I've actually got quite a vested interest financially in Installer Show, because it's not cheap doing exhibitions, and it's not just about the space and all the rest of it. It's manning the stand, it's the build up to it. So why the hell would I not put all my effort into making it as best as I can?
Absolutely.
So there always is going to be the underlining, I need to do more, I want to do more business, but you don't have to ram it down people's throats.
No.
So we've got some stuff that's going to come out next year. Hopefully, if they all come out to fruition, that'll be really cool.
Yes.
The office thing, Pete suggested actually, because he's very much into his 80s, and I think the office is not quite 80s, but it's old school.
Yeah.
I don't think neither of us knew how successful it would be.
Yeah.
It was a bit risky, but we've done that now. We had Frank Bruno the year before.
Oh, is that right?
That came out of chance as well.
The real Frank Bruno?
Yeah, the real Frank Bruno was on our stand. I got him to say proper in copper as well.
Wicked.
And that came out of just doing stuff. So we helped. I can't remember how we got into Frank Bruno. Oh, I think we had somebody come and do a comedy thing at one of our Christmas parties.
Okay.
We were then saying, well, we want to do something different, Installer Show. And then he said, well, why don't you go and get a celebrity on?
Mm-hmm.
Then I went and met Frank down because he's got a charity where he's helping deprived people and people with mental health issues use shadow boxing and fitness to help them. So he's got a centre down in Northampton. Yes, Northampton. And the boiler was knackered while we were there. We were chatting. I think we raised a couple of grand at Christmas party. I just wanted to go present him a check and just meet the guy, I suppose. And while I was down, I got chatting to his PA, and he said, "Oh yeah, our boilers are knackered." I thought, well, and I got in the car and I was driving back up north. I went down with Pete. Did I go with Pete? Can't remember. No, I don't think I did. And I was driving back up the road, and I thought, hang on a minute, I'm in this industry.
Yeah.
Why can't I just help these guys out? So I immediately started ringing some contacts I got, and I thought, you know what, we'll get a couple of boilers, and I'll talk to Pete, and I'm sure he'll, because we've done stuff with other charities. Warriors of Warmth is one that springs to mind, where plumbers give up their time to help out other people. And you know what? I love that. So why not support that? So then we went and did a couple of boilers, and we did an install for them over a weekend, I think, because it's a charity at the end of the day. And then we got just chatting, and I said, "Oh, do you know what? Your the dynamic, not the dynamics. What's the word I'm looking for? The age group for plumbers and heaters, engineers is his demographic. That's the word I was looking for." I said, "Why don't you come along to the installer show? I'm doing it in June. There might be some other avenues there for people to help you with your charity."
Yes.
That's the way I looked at it. Do you know what? He ended up coming on the Tuesday, gave up 3 hours of his time. We had a queue around the NEC to take photographs with him. He put himself really out there, and that was just brilliant. And do you know what? Some people thought we'd planned that. And
That's
then it
just
wasn't
serendipity,
planned.
yeah.
It was just taking, well, I wouldn't even say it was opportunities. It was just a load of things that happened over a course of 6 to 8 months that just worked out for the best.
But also from a marketing point of view, if you're heroing, we do this with some of our brands. If you're heroing, what is essentially your perfect target avatar? This particular plumber, super excited about UK manufacturing, super excited about the product, really passionate about what they do and how they do it. And if you're kind of going, this is our guy, this is our girl, and sort of heroing that, other people then will aspire not only to be like that person, but then will also aspire, well, if they're using those kinds of products, maybe I should. If I want to be like that. So actually sort of putting these people up on a pedestal and going, well done. Like we do little bits and bobs like that for our clients in terms of getting behind. We do a series called Behind the Trade, which we talked about a little bit earlier, where it's just literally just going for the longest time, for the last forever. No one's really given a shit about the trades. They're just geezers and women that are doing manual jobs, or what was, that was the sort of the general public's perhaps perception of it.
And ultimately, you're selling to these guys because they're going to use your product.
Yeah.
It's also all great engaging with the buyer of the company that you want them to stock your product.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if the guy's not happy with your product, or there's a substitution out there that's better than yours,
yes,
how you've got to get engaged with these guys.
Yeah, and so, I mean,
girls.
Ollie from Stabila explained this really, really well in an episode. It's that push-pull marketing. You've got to have the pull marketing from the end user. So you're marketing to the end user because you want the end user to then go to their retailer.
Yes, I am finding that.
Hypothetically say, where the hell can I get
Lawton
this?
Tubes?
Yeah, I want this stuff. But then also you're marketing to the, you've got the push marketing, which is pushing it to the retailer to say, hey, you probably need to stock these. And what a lot of people sort of miss out, a lot of brands miss out, is sharing the messaging from the end user to the retailer.
And that's what LinkedIn's really good at.
Great.
And the website.
What we're trying to do, we haven't done it yet, but we're looking to, how like a salesperson, let's say it's a very typical sales scenario where a salesperson goes into a retailer, a stockist, a potential stockist, let's say. Let's say it's one of the big nationals and say, you should use it, you should get our products. Here's my PDF, here's my PowerPoint presentation on all this
these are
different
my
stuff.
USBs.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all kind of branded and it looks kind of nice and stuff like that. Well, a lot of the time they miss is, and that's not to say this is the best way of doing it, this is a way that I've thought about, is like, let's actually talk about who wants this product, not just about what all the benefits of it and the price range and how it sits in the market. Let's talk about the fact that I've got a load of different social posts here that are in this presentation that I can show you little videos going, this is amazing. I can't wait for this to be out in the shops, all this kind of thing. Actually talking to the end user and doing things like that, doing like a test, a test phase where you send that product out to 50 people and you get their honest responses but not only on social media, but for you to be able to share in your marketing material to the.
But I do think more so these days that the people that you want to stock your product actually want you to do that end user engagement.
Yeah.
Because you're doing a lot of work for them.
Absolutely. And a lot of people will be missing that trick.
Yeah.
Because it's difficult to do. You've got to hire a marketing manager to do it.
So I don't know, pick something that there's a lot of in a supermarket, for example. I don't know, soup.
Yes.
Right. How do you get your soup brand to be more outstanding than others? Yes, you can make it look pretty and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you've got to get somebody to want to buy that product.
Yeah,
it's not just about positioning in the supermarket and all the rest of it. So we do very much like that. I mean, I just didn't think people were going to be overexcited about copper tube.
Yeah,
it's really difficult to make a household product for the construction industry, and it's a lump of metal with a hole in it, sexy and engaging, but I think we're doing really quite well.
Absolutely. I think you tapped into the fact that a lot of people don't realise that a lot of tradespeople are proper nerds for the stuff that they use. And
they actually do want to know more about what's
about
behind the brand as much as what the product is itself.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, they've got options, haven't they? And it's like anybody, so tradespeople, not everybody's going to be like this, of course, because not everybody's into like clothing and brands and stuff like that. But when like Keelan, for instance, might be interested in a particular brand, not because it's the best quality, not because it's made in the right ways or whatever. It's because he's interested in the history and there are some elements that really speak to him as an individual, and that's why he's going to buy that brand. There might be 3 or 4 other brands that are way better quality that are cheaper, but for some reason he's picked that particular brand, and that's great marketing. But tradesmen are exactly the same with the tools that they use and all the materials and stuff, because they have choices. But they just need to figure out which one is the best for them. And it might not be the best one. Doesn't matter. Yep. It's great if it is the best, obviously. But if they've got a particular product or material that they use that they think this actually speaks to my values and my interests as a tradesperson, so you can tap into that.
Sustainability is a big thing.
Yeah, and
we were talking to some senior people at some big nationals, and more recently than not, and they said it's less about price.
Yeah,
the big thing now is this recyclable? Is it coming from a recycled source? What do I do at end of life with the product?
Yeah,
it is becoming a big thing, and we picked up on that, and obviously the product always has been. It's nothing new for copper. Comes out. It does originally come out of the ground, and there's a sample of something that comes out of the ground. And I go around colleges and we do the talks, me and Pete. But 80% of everything that comes out of the ground is still in circulation because it carries on being infinitely recyclable. And so we're highlighting that more than ever before.
Yeah.
Because the substitution products out there are just not.
Like from an outsider's perspective, Lawton Tubes and yourself are big names in the industry, specifically installer show, social media. Even though like the actual following on social media isn't huge, which you typically don't get with brands anyway. As a rule, it's usually individuals that get big followings. You look at Richard Branson and Virgin. Richard Branson's got way more followers than Virgin, so that's always going to be the case.
It's the person behind the brand, isn't it?
Exactly.
Maybe I should set up a Robert Lawton account.
I think maybe we could speak about that. But obviously, like LinkedIn, for instance, is a very good platform for personal brand. We'll talk about that another time. But so you're renowned, from my point of view, of social media marketing, taking a vested interest in that, but also I think like sort of bootstrapping it. I got the impression you've not hired an agency to go and like us to produce like really glossy videos and stuff.
It was me, and I was juggling. So I know what I want. And I do as much as I can myself, but I can't create websites. I don't do SEO.
Yeah.
So I then go and find a business that would help me do that and support me on doing that. So I think I got up to about 15 companies. So I had a stand builder and I've been working in for years. Great chap called Lee. based up in Manchester, and he creates stands, right? Because I know what I want, but I don't put stands together, even though I was building some stands.
Yeah.
Certainly when I was exhibiting in Dubai in the early days, I was actually there building the stand. People looking at me going, Rob, but you're the boss. Why are you building a stand? Yeah, but why not?
Yeah.
Get involved, mate. Because then I know that everything on that stand is as I wanted it. Is that a bit? I don't know.
No, I think you've got to at some point you've got to still be on the tools. I think as a director of a business,
we're very hands on.
You've got. I think otherwise you become disassociated a little bit, and you can like sort of less. You need to still sweat the small stuff. I think as a director, I've always found that from reading books and speaking to other like creative directors, for instance, you've got to. I don't really touch cameras anymore. I don't really do a lot of filming. And
I did one yesterday.
Oh, there you go. But you still got to be on the tools to some extent. You've still got to.
You've got to know what the process is of something that you want doing. Because if you don't know what the process is, how then can you make rounded judgments about things
and communicate with your team who are the experts in that kind of thing? You know, you still need to be.
It's hard to let go, though.
You got to be able to speak the lingo. I found it very easy to let go.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know.
I'm a big delegator, to be fair, but because it's maybe a family business. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we do have great people in our team that we implicitly rely on, and trust is there, 100%. But we're still very flat managed. So we'll pick the phone up. I will not walk past someone's desk that's ringing and not answer the phone.
Yes.
So suddenly, occasionally, you'll get me answering cold calls on the telephone, stuff like that. But I think that's just the way. I think my parents did a great job of bringing us up, but down to earth.
Do you know what's interesting? Like I from an outsider's perspective, was it around 150?
1918.
150 like staff.
Staff, yeah.
Around that. I had no idea, and it felt the sort of feeling that I got. I'm not saying this is the feeling that you give off. Is it's a smaller, family-run business, and that's not to mean that it's not like as successful. I mean, like it just feels more grounded. As a company, the brand feels more grounded, and that's probably down to the fact that the messaging you put across is about the values, it's about the people, and it's less about just glossy products and stuff like that. So that's an interesting take on it.
Business is not complicated.
No,
it's about having the right product at the right price, right? But you've got to have all the trimmings to go with it. Yeah, you're approachable. You're engaging. You listen to your customers at any level, whether it's the end user or the distributor you're selling into. The big thing I'm doing now is collaborations with other brands, because I also think that's important.
Yeah.
So if I want to sell to X company, the fact that yes, I've got a great product and I'm engaging, but I'm also associated with a load of other brands.
Yes.
That's like an endorsement in a way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that I'm doing a lot of that at the moment, and then and we're going to do more about, obviously sustainability is a big thing, and I think everybody in the whole world should be looking at what they do and how they do things, not just necessarily in our industry but generally. So why not?
I think going back to the shows and the social media, they're the two things that I think that are really sort of stand out. Parts of your marketing and your networking and approach to engaging.
Very stressful.
Which made the most difference, do you think, in the last 3 years? So we've got Install the Show that you've been doing for 2-3 years. That's gone really well.
They both happened at the same time.
Which has had the most impact, do you think?
So if I didn't do Install the Show, I was to grow my export market. The different audiences in different countries and different ways of doing things. So I didn't think, say for instance, the Middle East, which is one of our biggest markets, that was very much about people and pressing the flesh. It was still old school.
Yes.
So exhibitions was a big thing. So we started exhibiting and no one knew us.
Yes.
So I remember me and my cousin went out to Dubai 15 years ago, something like that, and I'd never been to the Middle East.
No.
So culturally, it was completely different, and I got to start again because, hang on a minute, no one knows who we are.
No.
We got a product everyone uses, but our product isn't out here. So exhibitions was the main drive, and then in the UK, because we're already known, but we hadn't fulfilled that gap of engaging with the end user so much that they both happened at the same time in the UK.
Okay,
so I was already doing exhibitions, but I'd never really. We'd done some in the UK. So there was an air conditioning exhibition we were going to, but that was about launching product. Social media, I can't remember. LinkedIn's been going longer than I thought, but I hadn't been on it. I've done 4 websites, I think, in the last 10 years. So I think a lot of energy went into the website about people being able to find us on the internet. But obviously the world's changed. Nobody sits in front of a computer now. Everything's done on a mobile phone.
Absolutely.
Apps. We did an app. We were quite innovative. I did an app so you could an installer could work out working pressures and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Putting in a couple of bits of information about the tube and what pressure, what temperature you were going to run at, and it would tell you So we did an app, but apps have sort of fallen away
a little bit
because you can now just you can put a website onto your iPhone now, can't you?
Yeah,
as a shortcut.
Yes,
I learned that the other day. So you don't really need apps. So I think they're dying off.
Yeah.
So you've got to keep reinventing yourself. But yeah, so Instagram and LinkedIn all happened with Installer Show, all sort of came in together because using PB, all the 3 things all happened at the same time. Planned or not, that's up for debate. But I think having Pete or having an ambassador, you need to utilise him or her. And to do that, well, how are you going to do that? Well, exhibitions is still the best way of putting yourself in front of people. And in Installer Show, I know there was other, and I talk about Installer Show a lot, but there are other exhibitions, but I just didn't find them engaging for the end user.
No, Installer's the biggest one of the year, isn't it?
Didn't used to be.
No, that's why I find it bizarre. You'd think from a non-tradesperson's point of view, I'm looking at Tool Fair. I'm looking at
done Tool Fair,
done Screwfix Live.
Screwfix Live don't because I don't sell to Screwfix. But
we go to all of them pretty much. You know, we're always
do you exhibit or do you just walk around?
No, just to we get hired to shoot the content there for the brands that we're working with. But these
More
days,
than welcome to come and do some stuff on our stand.
That'd be cool. Most of the time, but these days I just go for a schmooze. I just like schmoozing and speaking to the people. And a lot of the time, like a Screwfix Live, for instance, this Friday. This might age the episode.
Yeah, because it's not going to be out for a month.
Yeah, probably. I'm only going there for a social because Molly's shooting there. Molly,
you do become friends with people.
Yeah, well, it's like one of the guys that we were with a couple of different brands, like Carl Chance, really, really good guy. I speak to him on socials all the time. He lives in Southampton. Great opportunity for me and him to catch up, you know. And
it is. And Installer Show is very much like that. The Plumber's Social that Pointy runs is great.
Yeah. I've never been to that because I'm always doing something with our clients. I'd like to go.
I make sure I go. And a lot of the ambassadors, if you like, go along as well. I didn't think it was weird. I'm starting to find a little bit odd that because you're the face of the business, and I don't believe you so much that I'm what you said I was, but
the Duke of Copper, the most famous famous copper guy.
I'm just a normal Joe Blogs.
Yeah.
And some people won't approach you. It's weird. Some people will approach you and go, "Oh, can I get a photo?" And I never thought that would happen. And I'm like, well, okay, but I'm still just me. I'm just doing what I do.
And do you think that's made a difference, though? That's what I want to get at here. Do you think you being kind of a face of the business, being approachable, and not taking it too seriously, do you think that's actually made a difference?
I do take it seriously. That's the trick.
What I mean is, you know, not taking yourself too seriously in terms of like, okay, well, I must be best behavior, super corporate, you know, that kind of thing.
You have to have those, but not. I know what you mean. Maybe. I think. If I like, for instance, Shannon joined the business 11 weeks, 12 weeks ago, is it now? She exudes passion and energy.
Yeah,
and I love that. And especially in marketing, you've got to have that. You've got to be very creative as well. But I think you're right. I think I've subconsciously always wanted to do marketing and sales, I suppose, and just being on the stand. I think you should. Maybe some of these bigger brands that are international, it's difficult because you've got thousands of people working for you and you can't do that because we're not. I don't class us as a big company in terms of turnover of staff turnover. And do you know what? Our turnover of staff is really low, but our numbers are low. I think 140 people is I think it's a mid-sized business.
Is it? Jesus Christ.
I think not a small company, but not a big company. But I think because we've got, and everybody's interconnected and we are trying to improve communication, and I think nobody can ever be perfect on the way they communicate, and we're going through that sort of coaching process with a lot of the staff and ourselves, reflecting on ourselves. I think because of all that, you can take time out to go on the stand, because you've got, and we do put quite a lot of staff, and it does have an impact on the business because we're all working the show. But you know what? For 3 days, and it is bloody hard work. People think, oh, it's just a la-di-da. It's not.
No, on your feet all day.
On your feet all day, talking to 10,000 people, and it doesn't finish at the end of the show. You've got to carry on in the evening.
You got to get hammered on the evening.
Well, you see, I don't go
Most
and get
people
hammered.
do.
I'll relax.
Yeah.
But I need to be fresh the next day. I've got too much invested in the show and in the company that I don't feel like I can do that.
No, I'm talking specifically the sales managers. They forget every year that you're not supposed to get spanned on the first night. And that
I don't like people that I pay like ambassadors to work my stand to do that either. That would really turn me off.
Oh yeah. Or come back, turn up hungover and stuff.
Yeah,
like
that's just unprofessional.
Yeah,
I
so.
think. But you know, everyone's different. And the 2 guys that we had on our stand this year, they were actually 3. Pete's dad worked the stand, bless him, in his 70s, and he worked bloody hard.
Wicked.
He was. We did his key rings. I gave you some, but I haven't got it on the table. But he was doing the engravings on a stand.
There we go.
So take it out of there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if you can see that, but or not. So we one of our things that we just do is solid copper. We had Lawton Tubes on one side and Proper and Copper on the other, but the other sides are blank. And George, bless him, would hand engrave anything you wanted on the key ring, and that will sit on your van key ring. He worked so hard. I said, George, sit down, man. Go and have a break. Go and have a lunch.
Yeah.
Go to a toilet break. But he was just so loving it, and the banter and the engage. So I think if you do the engagement and the passion and show yourself as whatever, you'll get it back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why the stand is so successful. I don't think there's anything really clever that I'm doing that's out there.
Well, I was going to ask you,
I think it's just normal, or am I not being normal? I don't know.
I don't think anything you do is particularly normal, Rob.
I'm not normal.
Well, when you started doing Installer Show and you started to really take an interest in social media, specifically the shows, you're getting people like Frank Bruno over and stuff like that, and you're getting the office guys. Were there other people looking around? Were there lots of other people doing the same kind of thing, or would you think you were one of the trailblazers?
I think Installer Show themselves are capitalising on that in the right way. I don't know many exhibition. I've done quite a few because I do international ones. I don't see the engagement so much from other companies that run exhibitions as much as I am from Lyrical, which is the guys that run Installer Show. So that's great. And I'm actually working with them and a couple of other brands to try and help the engagement, because as the show gets bigger and more and more people want to exhibit, it gets a bit of a bun fight.
Yeah.
So yes, it's there. It's a business. It's got to make money, but you've got to have stands that are engaging. Otherwise, you're just going to get people not wanting to come.
Yeah. And
I don't want that, because we see Installer Shows as a great thing for us as a company. So I'm hopeful that it rubs off on people. I mean, it did. Some of the other stands probably not exhibited before, and this is where LinkedIn is really good. So we put out what we've done.
Yes.
We do the build up to it, and I think it has rubbed off. Whether that's because of what we're doing or whether it's just what other people do, but we are seeing other brands doing mascots, we haven't done that yet, but we will be. Getting celebrities in, trying to do something more engaged on the stand. I mean, you could just do spin the wheel. Yeah. But everybody does spin the wheel. You got to think, there's some brands that have unfortunately gone to the wayside that were doing really great on their branding.
Yes.
Really engaging. And I think there are quite a few of them still doing it. I think there'll be more each year. And I think that's great. Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about engaging with the end user. That's what Installer Show is for. It's for the installer.
Do you find yourself on in the areas of marketing that you do? Do you find yourself wanting to differentiate from the rest of the industry? Are you always thinking
not purposely?
I really want to be doing something more unique than everybody else?
No, not really. I don't purposely go out that way. I think it's just the way my brain works.
Yes,
probably.
yeah. Because the office guys, like, I know we're talking about the Installer Show quite a lot, but I think it's a huge part of marketing for the construction industry. Like if you're in that market, everybody's getting, you see it more every time I go to a show. There's more brand ambassadors. There's more people on the stands that you see on social media. And you guys came out of the woodwork with 2 impersonators from the office, and I'm like, no one's doing this. You might get a celebrity. I mean,
I don't think there were celebrities much before. I think they were on the plaza.
Yes,
but I don't think they were on people's stands as much.
Yeah, I mean, like last year we got we were working with one of our sort of plumbing brands. I won't mention their names. I don't know why. But they had a gladiator on their stand for a particular period of time. So and I'm like, that's interesting.
You're talking about Mountain, the strongest man.
I don't know who. I can't remember his name now. But anyway, there was a gladiator on their stand, and I was, and then I'm sort of going. I'm doing my sort of rounds around the shows. I'm like, oh, there's another sort of B-list celebrity, and there's another one, and
see. I didn't purposely do that.
Yeah.
And that Frank thing, which we discussed earlier, was a series of events that happened.
Yeah.
I think you've got to have a stand that talks about your product.
Yes.
But in an engaging way.
Yeah.
I never thought when we started doing the bending challenge, and again, Pete is a very big advocate of traditional pipe. So bending is traditional plumbing, not necessarily using press. And we launched with him the pipe bending challenge. I thought, Pete, no one's going to want to just bend pipe on our stand.
I wanted to.
That's what they do all day. Yeah. They don't want to come to a bloody exhibition and bend more pipe. But actually, do you know what? They're quite competitive.
Yeah.
They love to show off their skill. And actually, some people don't know how to bend since college, maybe. And we have apprentices having a go. We have people that have been in industry 30 years having a go. We have people that aren't even in the industry at all wanting to have a go. It's just really engaging.
This is great, and this is the thing. Like,
but it's still brand. It's still talking about the brand.
Yes.
But I'm doing it in such a way that it's engaged.
It's working for you guys. I remember one of the first shows that I ever saw Lawton Tubes at. I can't remember which one it was. It would either been Effects or a something like Tool Fair.
I didn't do Installer first, I don't think. I didn't have Pete on the stand either.
I can't remember. It might have been an older Installer show. Anyway, we were opposite you guys nearly. You were and diagonally.
Sorry, what is your company?
No. Oh. We were shooting for one of our brands.
Okay.
So I was on their stand shooting content or whatever, mooching around. I remember looking over, not knowing who you guys were at the time, and just thinking, "Fucking hell, there's a lot of people around that copper." Like, there was such a buzz around the product and around you guys and stuff like that. It was really, really engaging. Everyone was really excited about like what seemed to me like a load of tubes, you know. But I remember there was some bending going on and stuff like that. And I was thinking, this is like
maybe that's why we've done what we've done, because it's not an overly complicated product. It hasn't got bells and whistles on it. It's difficult to differentiate yourself from the opposition.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the reason why we've done such engaging stuff subliminally. I don't know.
I'd love to tap into what's made it so successful. What's made because it was a cool looking stand, and it's changed since then. Things have changed since.
I'm trying to remember what that show was, but
I'm thinking it must have been an Installer show.
I mean, the colours are great. Copper in itself, is just a beautiful material.
Mm.
Do you know there isn't actually a Pantone for copper?
Is that right?
No. The nearest to it is antique gold.
Okay.
So it's really difficult from a marketing perspective. And thank goodness technology's moved forward, so now we can have copper foil and stuff like that.
Cool
but before that, it would be antique gold.
Yeah.
But that with a black background, it just stands out.
Yeah, it looks cool in here, doesn't it, Keith?
Yeah.
You just get some copper in the studio.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get like, I don't know, some kind of like.
We could change the white to copper if you like.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, we could do like a limited edition, like Lawton Dissident sign. I think that'd be pretty cool. We're running the risk of beating around the bush when it comes to like marketing and kind of like takeaways and stuff like that. But so you've got Lawton Tubes. That you're doing something interesting. You're doing something that a lot of the bigger corporates aren't doing, and it's working. It's engaging with the end user in a massive way. I think you go into the shows. What's one of the things that you think you've implemented in the last 3 years that's actually made a real noticeable difference that surprised you? Do you think? Is there anything like in the last 3 years that you think that worked bloody well?
I think having an ambassador worked far better than I thought it would do.
Mm-hmm. Just one.
Yeah, we've only got one.
Only got one.
Just one. But he's the best in my eyes.
Yeah, why would you need two?
I think he's very committed. He's very professional. He's not doing it so much. I mean, it's money. It's business at the end of the day. But I don't think he's doing it because he just wants to make loads of money.
Yeah.
And I think that shines through on his channels and stuff. So it's very genuine. So that really works because I think I'm quite genuine. So I think we rub off each other quite well. That was a more of an impact. I originally thought we'll get an ambassador in, right? We'll get the numbers up on social media and we'll ditch him.
Yeah.
And that'll be it.
Yeah.
But actually, the opportunities that come out of it, because he's very engaging and he's full of ideas and he's been doing plumbing and heating for a long time, that actually he brings a different dynamic.
Yes.
We know how to make the product. We're really good at it and we know all the things we need to do for it. But actually looking at it from the other person's perspective of actually the person dealing with the product. I didn't have that. I'm not a plumber by trade, so I'm not on the tools. So having that dynamic actually really helped our marketing and the business as a whole. I think we're in year 3 with Pete at the moment, and it's working really well. And we're both developing our roles, and then things like starting to give back to those that want to be a plumber by going to colleges and doing talks.
Yes,
and I'm not doing that from a brand perspective. We're doing that really to talk about the benefits of using copper over other materials. And Pete then also talks about being how to be a plumber, and he gives some really good advice to young people about what social media should be about.
Yeah.
And it's a great way of mapping your journey through life as an installer. So you can see when you first started doing jobs and then seeing it and I think he does talk about the fact he wish he'd done it a lot earlier in his career.
Yeah.
Social media is great because I think it's any channel, so any marketing is good marketing. And I think you can't just depend on a website, which we sort of did before. And we did a lot of printing of brochures. We very rarely print stuff. These days, it's all digitalized. And I think having all these different channels available, and I think that creates a bigger audience.
Absolutely.
And a bit bigger engagement. I don't have to have a meeting. You can learn about the product by looking at, and you can see the different aspects. And I don't think you can lie so much. Not saying you can lie, but people can get what they want to take out of it from what you do on social media.
Absolutely.
And everybody's got different things they want to take out of it. And if you thought about a marketing campaign and said, well, actually, we're going to do this because I think that's what everybody wants.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants that.
No.
But being proactive on social media, people will take what they want to take from it.
Absolutely.
And I love the engagement and the chat and the banter on there. So that's the last thing. And then more recently, Shannon's joined us, and the dynamic's going to change a bit more.
Big up Shannon.
Big up Shannon, because Shannon, being a young soul, she'll bring in the more modern way of doing marketing. I like to think I'm there. I'm not an old fart. I am still trying to keep up with what's happening on avenues. You know, WhatsApp's a big thing.
Yeah.
People don't like have meetings and stuff. You might get WhatsApp or you get text. It's not just texting. I don't do Snapchat, but I do other social media, and I think Shannon's going to bring a new dynamic of how you can utilize modern technology to help you grow social media. I mean, I still very much like the hands-on approach. Whether that changes as we get bigger and more creative, I don't know. But certainly bringing in people in-house, because I didn't have any in-house marketing.
No.
Everything was outsourced.
Yes. some things it's worth outsourcing, isn't it? For the
you've got to look at your skill set. I mean, you can't have 30,000 people working for you in marketing.
No.
But you can use an agency like you. Gosh, I'm going to now promote agencies, aren't I?
Yeah, specifically Dissident.
You guys got maybe an SEO. I don't know what you got, but you might have an SEO, a web designer. You'll have someone that's really good at journalism, so could do article writing. Right. Well, for me to do that as a brand, I've got to employ key people to do that.
Exactly.
Well, that's a massive expense.
Yeah, especially if you're not doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I think we'll do more and more. And challenge a well-rounded individual. So we'll still probably outsource, but we'll be more selective. And I've got some great guys and girls that we use. Again, I don't know if that's come out of chance or just communicate. I don't go through like, oh God, I'm sounding old now, yellow pages and go, right, I need a plumber. I'll go through the yellow page and find a plumber. I'll do a lot of recommendations through word of mouth, which is why networking is great. Yeah. So going to exhibitions and just networking, just do it. Even if you've not got a stand, go to the bloody shows. Yeah. Get out your office, go and see what's out there, and go and have a chat.
I love networking's massive, isn't it? And this is the thing about social media as well, just to get this point across for a lot of people is like word of mouth, networking, social media is exactly that. It's just on a larger scale.
I don't see the point. It doesn't matter whether you're on a golf course, because you're on an organised golf do like we did the other week, which is great fun, or you're at an event, or you're at an exhibition, and you don't say anything and just stand there. And I think, what's the point of being there?
No.
Well, you're the wrong person if you're doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've engaged with some. I was on a couple of charity golf days this year. And there was one that in particular I went to, and that was, it got some of the biggest names in, some of the biggest brands, in the industry, and they got the sales directors and all that kind of thing. I'm chatting to some of those guys or whatever. And I'm always surprised. I'm a LinkedIn guy anyway, and a lot of the time, fair enough. I'm building my network because that is good for my business. Yeah. But I'm always surprised how little these guys interact with each other on social media. And I'm sure it's because they're busy and they don't want to be on social media, and that's absolutely fine. The social media is not for everybody, and I completely appreciate that. Weirdly, it's not for most of my team, even though we're a social media agency. A lot of us don't actually spend a great deal of time on it ourselves, for ourselves. But I'm always surprised how unsocial people are on social media, and so that they're all
in person.
They're all marketing. They're all just push on the brand, as opposed to building that network.
Well, sometimes people that get into marketing role, it's always like being not the main part of the business.
Yeah.
So actually, do you know what? Why don't you do the marketing?
Yeah.
But you might actually be an accountant.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And suddenly you're doing the marketing because you feel like you should be doing the marketing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be big brands. If you're like us, we were growing at such a rate in terms of size of business. Mm-hmm. You were so busy being hands-on, getting the product, satisfying the customer, that the marketing side of it or other aspects of the business don't really get thought about as much.
No.
It's only when you've, I wouldn't say matured as a brand, but have done that surge of growth and you've got to a comfortable place you want to be in sales, mm-hmm. that actually can start thinking about other things.
Yeah, it's marketing's often seen as a luxury, and it's one of those things.
Because that's now my job.
Yeah, but this is the thing, and I think this is where you can sort of push the narrative of like, marketing is the first step in sales. Yes, you can send some people out to retailers and say, hey, do you want to look at this product? And that's a really, really good thing. But if you haven't got the marketing in place and the end user has no idea what your product is, you're much less likely to get that sale.
It's not massively a big expense having a social media platform either.
I don't think so.
Website can be expensive, but having an Instagram account doesn't cost you a penny.
No.
Really.
It's beautiful.
It's time and effort.
Yeah.
And the resource you got to put to it, maybe, but you can do it yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm obviously that's what I did. I set my social media channels up for the business myself.
Yeah,
I'm still doing them. Is that a good thing or not? I don't know.
It depends on your positioning. I think the way that you position the brand, I think that's absolutely fine. I think if you're positioning a brand in a particular light, let's say if I gave the example of. I don't know. Every time I try and give an example, it's either one of my clients or one of our competitors. or our clients' competitors. But let's say it's Bosch. Let's go for Bosch because that's a nice easy one. If Bosch started doing social media the way that you guys do social media, it would be their positioning would be really weird because Bosch are all about like the product, the engineering, but the way, and you guys are to some extent. But if they took your approach, which is a little bit more personal, a little bit more individual, it pushes you in front of the brand quite a lot. That would look very strange for them, and it would be a bit kind of inconsistent to the rest of their marketing.
But then that whole of the industry for tools, for example, if we're talking about tools, they're all very similar.
Yes,
that's how the marketing works. I'm pretty unique. I don't have anyone in my market, in my product, doing anything.
Do anything like certainly not like you guys are doing. Yeah.
So I've got pretty much a blank canvas.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge if any manufacturer wanted to do copper pipe and market it, because I've sort of set the precedence really a little bit. So that was quite unique for us. So that was good.
Yeah,
I just happened to be in the right place at the right time in some respects.
But to answer your question, your marketing, the fact that you're saying that you're still very much involved, and you're also kind of like sort of customer facing in terms of the marketing. That works really well for your brand because you are just really uniquely positioned to speak to the end user, and being the fact that no one else in kind of your sector is really doing anything like this. It just works incredibly well. You could change that entirely on LinkedIn, but still have the same personality.
Yeah, so LinkedIn, we do more serious. I think that's right, isn't it, Shannon? We separate out. We can do TikTok. I think, do I like TikTok? Probably not, but I see that as the fun. It's just bordering in just stupidity in some instances on TikTok. And then Instagram, so you can be creative and fun, but it's the audience. On LinkedIn, I think you've got to be more serious.
Yeah, I think you can still have personality.
You can still have personality, but you don't be an idiot on it.
It's a different way of communicating, isn't it? So it can still be you. So
I can do it two ways. I can do it through the company on LinkedIn, but I can also do it as myself.
Yes.
So I personalise it by Shannon will post on LinkedIn about on the company page about what the company's doing, and it could be reasonably, and then I'll repost it, but I'll put my comment on it.
Yes.
And put my personality into it.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best way of explaining it.
It sucks, though, doesn't it? Because the problem with LinkedIn, not the problem. I suppose it is a problem in some respects. Is you have to have a different strategy. So you can have a strategy for Instagram, strategy for TikTok, strategy for Snapchat, whatever. X if you use X.
And they've all got slightly different algorithms and all the rest
of it.
Oh
yeah, different.
If anybody knows how to work those algorithms, please let us know.
Yes, yeah. Well, we're kind of there or thereabouts. We specialize in only a few of the channels as well.
Yeah.
Like we don't touch X. Like we'll do it, but we'll never say we won't say that we're the experts in that. Same with Snapchat. I think that's got to be in house. I think TikTok for some extent should be in house.
Snapchat for branding.
Yeah,
really?
It's a communication platform, isn't it?
I don't use it, so
probably not for your audience, not for your target audience.
No, well, I don't think TikTok's really my audience, but there are people that are big on plumbing and heating and that are more on TikTok than they are Instagram, and vice versa. I think one of the things that they don't do is, or they use their TikTok video and upload it into Instagram.
Yes.
I don't think Instagram likes that.
No.
I think you've got to treat it as two separate things.
I think the way that we treat TikTok, because I think a lot of people will say TikTok is for silly. We don't do a lot of phone footage because we're a production company. So, and most of our clients, they're never really hiring us to do what we call UGC, like creator content type thing.
Yeah.
Everything that we do is for the most part like relatively high production value stuff. And a lot of people will say like that's not applicable to TikTok. TikTok should be gritty. It should be real. It should be phone footage, and it should because as soon as you see anything that's like high production value, it looks like an ad. My argument to that is,
unless you're doing like if your product is like trainers, you'd be on TikTok because you want the audience to buy your trainers.
I think everybody should be on TikTok, but
maybe I'm just a bit old school.
The thing that, because my thing is like I break this rule because most of our clients aren't on X. But I usually say, why not show up everywhere? It's not going to do you any harm.
No, true. Marketing is good marketing.
Exactly. But also, fair enough. Like TikTok, there's a thing where some people will say you need to be doing gritty, raw, personalized videos that are a little bit more low budget. Otherwise, it looks weird. My problem with that is if you're a brand where that type of content is bad for your positioning, you shouldn't be doing that. But does that mean that you shouldn't be on the platform at all? I would say no. I think
we're on it, but I don't think we're as active as we are on Insta.
And even from like from the point of view of your internal comms, and just getting like your staff and your team members and G'd up about the products and about the business. And it goes back to that kind of like marginal gains thing that like the Sky team did, the cycling team, like, an extra 1 or 2%. Actually, like long term, when it gets to the end of so all the things that you've been doing, 1, 2, 3%, 5% gains on productivity and staff retention and stuff like that. You save a shitload of money, you make a load of money, and I think that's really cool. So and everybody wins from that because you can keep paying your staff and you can keep improving on all that stuff that you're doing with internal comms.
I think you create a better vibe and a better buzz within the business. Because everybody knows the direction. Everybody's working as a team. Everybody's being more cohesive. The communication's great. I think it's just you spend so much time at work.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to enjoy what you do, and I think not necessarily for us, but maybe when I look at other businesses and I talk to people, they're really down about where they were, and I'm thinking, why are you there?
What a depressing life. We can speak about internal comms on a future episode potentially.
Am I coming back?
I think it might be nice to get Shannon back as well. We talked about her that much, but she's.
Internal comms.
There you go. We'll get Shannon back as well.
Thank you very much for having me.
We would have you anytime. Thank you so much, Rob from Lawton Tubes. What's the best place to find you, speak to you, whatever? What do you think? LinkedIn, Instagram?
I'm on all of it.
Go on all of it.
Well, any of it. LinkedIn's obviously me because that's mine. Instagram's still me. TikTok's still me, but more Shannon. You can pick the phone up. You can see me in person because obviously I do all the shows.
Go to the shows.
I'm there. Do I actually sleep? I don't know.
Yeah,
a little bit.
And the odd charity golf day as well. You can catch Rob. Yeah. Well, next charity golf day.
You'll certainly hear me if you don't see me.
Rob, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we look forward to seeing yourself and Shannon again soon.
Cool.